Someone paid a writer to do his dishes.
With a camera strapped to his forehead.
Not for a video, not for content, to teach a robot how hands work.
And apparently there aren't enough humans doing this yet. The robots exist. Boston Dynamics, Figure, Apptronic, 1X. They walk, grip, balance. The part nobody solved is the t-shirt, and the reason is simpler and stranger than the hardware.
Because folding a t-shirt is actually a nightmare if you think about it mechanically. Fabric moves. Every shirt is a little different. The way you grab it changes depending on how it landed. A human child figures this out by 6. A robot in 2025 still doesn't have it.
And the reason is data. These systems learn by watching. You show them millions of examples of a human doing the thing, and eventually the pattern becomes learnable. The problem is, nobody has millions of examples of someone doing dishes.
So you strap an iPhone to your head and go do dishes.
For money. The camera on your forehead captures what your hands are doing from your own point of view. That angle is specific to how a body moves through space. You can't fake it with a film crew.
There's a term for this in the research: egocentric video, first-person footage. And it turns out it's genuinely hard to get at scale because nobody has been filming themselves doing laundry for the last 20 years in any systematic way.
YouTube has a lot of cooking videos, not a lot of someone loading a dishwasher from their own eyes.
So you need to go get it. And the cheapest way to get it is to pay regular people to live their lives with a camera attached to their head.
The investors backing humanoid robotics think this becomes a 100 million hour problem, maybe more. That's not a rounding error, that's an industry, a data collection industry where the product is the most ordinary version of being a person.
Which inverts 15 years of gig work. You used to drive the car until the algorithm learned the route, rate the photo until the model learned the label. Now the job is be human on purpose, in detail, so something that isn't can copy it.
You are the training set.
And the weird part is it works in reverse too. The better the data gets, the more capable the robot gets, the less valuable the data eventually becomes. But by then, the robot is in your kitchen.
Someone is going to make a lot of money being the last person paid to fold laundry.
And that's just one person trading their movements for cash.
Someone's collecting a lot more than that.
Someone in Portland got a call from a debt collector. Owed $266 apparently, except he'd already paid it.
And the collector kept going, confident, persistent, completely unbothered by the fact that the debt didn't exist anymore.
Because it wasn't a person, it was an AI, and the guy figured that out pretty quickly, so he started doing what you do when you realize you're talking to a bot. He tried to break it.
Weird roleplay, nonsense responses, the kind of thing that makes a human hang up.
It didn't hang up. It stayed in character the whole time, only transferred him to a human when things got genuinely strange enough that the system flagged it.
Debt collection is one of those jobs that nobody wants to do and nobody wants to receive. The calls are uncomfortable, the conversations are adversarial, and the people doing it are working from scripts anyway.
So on paper, automating it makes a certain kind of sense.
Except a script assumes the underlying information is correct, and the underlying information is very often not correct.
Debt changes hands. A creditor sells it to a collector who sells it to another collector. And somewhere in that chain, the records get messy.
Each sale is called a debt transfer. The original lender hands the account file to a third party, and that file is often just a spreadsheet with a name, a number, and a balance.
Someone pays and the payment doesn't follow the account. Someone disputes a charge and the dispute doesn't follow either.
So now you have a system that's very good at being persistent and very bad at knowing whether you actually owe anything.
And it's not just one account. Collectors work lists, sometimes thousands of accounts at a time. The AI doesn't slow down when the list gets long. A human caller gets tired, gets distracted, moves on. The AI calls back on the same schedule, whether the debt is real or not.
The human collector could at least be argued with. They could look something up, get flustered, make a judgment call. The AI just keeps going because its data says $266 and your data says paid, and it has no mechanism for resolving that gap.
It's not that the AI is worse at collecting, it might be better. And if it is, the next question isn't whether companies use it, it's what happens when the system that gets the debt wrong is also the system that never tires of asking.
Anthropic runs an internal engineering hiring exam, a standardized test they give every software engineer who applies for a job there. They've given it to a lot of people, and their latest model, Opus 4.5, the engine that powers Claude code, just scored higher on it than any human candidate ever has.
Which Anthropic announced about their own product. That's not something you say quietly.
The tool has gotten so popular that developers started holding unofficial meetups just to talk about their relationship with it. They called one Claude Code Anonymous, like a support group.
Because people felt genuinely addicted to building with it. Not addicted to using software, addicted to building things. That's a different feeling.
A solo developer with Claude Code can now ship something that 2 years ago would have taken a team of 5 or 6 people several months. The code comes out faster than most people can review it.
And that's where it gets strange, because software companies are built around the assumption that writing code is hard and takes a lot of people. The org chart, the salaries, the funding rounds, all of it assumes that humans are the bottleneck.
If one person can produce what a team used to produce, you don't need the team, or you need a completely different kind of team, or you need to build something much more ambitious than you would have attempted before.
Nobody's quite sure which of those is happening, probably all of them at once in different places.
The exam score is the thing I keep coming back to. Anthropic didn't have to publish that comparison. They chose to. A company that spends a lot of time talking about AI safety just told the world their tool is better at engineering than their best human applicants.
At some point, the hiring exam stops being about who to hire.
Your Wi-Fi router might be watching you, not your traffic, you. Researchers figured out that the signals bouncing around your home bend differently when a human body is in the way, and by analyzing those distortions in real time, they can build a picture of who's standing where in a room. No camera, no microphone, just the router you already have.
And this isn't a lab curiosity. Wi-Fi is already embedded in every office building, every airport, every hospital. The infrastructure is already there.
The surveillance layer just got added retroactively. Nobody had to install anything new, and nobody asked.
The question is, who gets to decide what those signals are allowed to tell? There's a photo going around right now that's hard to process. Artemis 2, 4 astronauts heading around the moon, the first humans to do that since 1972. And someone caught the exact moment the rocket dropped its 2 solid boosters, 2 minutes after launch.
2 minutes. Those boosters provided 3/4 of the thrust needed to break out of Earth's gravity, and then they just got thrown into the Atlantic.
Disposable, used once.
The astronauts are still out there right now, looping around the moon.
And if this mission lands cleanly, the next crew doesn't just loop around it.
They touch down.
There's a number worth sitting with. The total value of all stablecoins, digital dollars that live on blockchains rather than in banks, just crossed $322 billion.
Stablecoins are designed to hold exactly $1 of value. They're not speculative. They're just dollars that exist outside the traditional financial system.
And $322 billion worth of them exceeds the foreign exchange reserves of 95 countries, including the UK, including Canada.
Those reserves are what governments use to defend their own currencies in a crisis.
So there are now more dollars sitting outside the banking system than most governments have on hand to protect their economies.
And the regulations for any of this are still being written. Bermuda just handed every citizen $100 in digital dollars and told them to go spend it at a real marketplace.
Not a test environment, an actual market.
It's part of something larger. Bermuda is trying to become the first country to run its entire economy on blockchain technology. They're working with Circle, Coinbase, and Stellar. The idea covers everything from a national digital currency to paying government fees in crypto.
Your DMV bill settled on a blockchain.
Bermuda has about 64,000 people, which makes it a manageable scale for an experiment like this.
Small enough to try, big enough that if it works, the argument that this can't function as real national infrastructure gets a lot harder to make.
More tomorrow.
Including something that might change how you think about who owns the work your tools produce.
The world keeps moving.
See you then. Singularity Pulse is for informational purposes only. Nothing here is financial, legal, or professional advice. Views expressed are our own.
I'm Knox. Every Saturday on Pulse Deep Dive, one story told in acts. This season, how AI happened, who really invented the internet, and going back to the moon 53 years later. New chapter every Saturday. Find it wherever you listen.
Origins is a different kind of show. Every Sunday, we investigate the forces that shape the modern world, the geography, the science, the commerce, the decisions made centuries ago that are still playing out today. Find it wherever you listen to this podcast.